Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to director Olivia Newman about Where The Crawdads Sing, which is going to be available in theaters July 15th. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
So this is pretty big. This is massive. I mean, global phenomenon, huge book that we all love. I'm curious what the early mindsets are when it's official. You're directing this global phenomenon and adapting it to the big screen. What's kind of in your mind early on with this?
It really felt like a dream come true. I was in love with the book. I was so excited to be able to work with Alibar, who's just an amazing lyrical screenwriter. And I was surrounded by a team of powerhouse women who were passionate about the book and shared my vision for it. So it was very exciting.
Obviously, not letting the fans down, doing the book justice is some stuff that comes to mind. Any other specific goals with the film specifically, Olivia, like when you're kind of talking with the team and everything?
I mean, really the goal was to take the viewer on a similar journey that they went on when reading the book, right? Yeah. And there's, you really have this huge emotional experience. And when you get to the end, you're sort of dumbfounded and, it takes a while to absorb what this story was about. And, there's this incredible twist at the end. Yes. or I should say there's, a very surprising ending to the book. And so we wanted to make sure that we captured that same experience when we adapted it to the screen. So when you watch the movie, you feel like you're going on a similar journey that you went on when you read the book.
I'm sure, it's overwhelming. You know what I mean? Like you said, you love the book and everything, but I'm sure the excitement overpowers the kind of nerves a little bit or the pressure. Like, is that safe to say I'm on something with that a little bit?
I think with any project that you just love and a material that you just can't wait to sink your teeth into, you really just get focused on making the best possible movie and telling the story in the most exciting way possible. So, I had the support of the author and I had her as an amazing resource. So we could always go to her, to fill in anything or to get feedback. But really, it was about sinking in and saying, how can we make this as suspenseful as possible? How can we take the viewer on the most epic romance, and really give viewers something that feels timeless and epic in scope and puts them in a world that they've never experienced before.
So that interests me. So what were some themes or elements or things that you had to have in the movie, like when you're thinking of, like in terms of like focusing on certain relationships or characters? Was there anything that you were like, this has to be in the film?
There's so many things. I mean, this is why it's sort of the book is a feast for artists, because you have to have the murder mystery coursing throughout, to keep the audience guessing what happened and will she get through the trial or not. You have to have those two love stories. There is the love story with Tate and there's the relationship with Chase, and he's the one who is murdered, and you need to understand what was their relationship and why is the finger being pointed at Kaya. So those things, of course. And then, Kaya's survival is so dependent on the love of Mabel and Jumpin, of, Tate teaching her how to read, and she, becomes educated and, learns how to be an artist and what she can do with that, with her love of the marsh. And so all of those things had to be in the movie. The challenge was just figuring out the best way to weave them all through and make it one coherent film.
I can't even imagine what those conversations are like. I really can't. That's so crazy. Just kind of a general question. I mean, you're directing a feature film. It's going to be available July 15th in the States. People are going to be able to see it in theaters. A lot of filmmakers start out in short films. Do you still kind of see the short film as that kind of stepping stone calling card? Or do you think they're coming into its own with the access that people get to watch them, like because of streaming services and social media? Like, what do you think about the short film these days?
I have to say, I don't know, what the access to shorts is. When I was making short films, it was right after, the Great Recession, and people were no longer coming to see shorts and handing them their check to make their first feature. And I was coming up of it during a time where actually the short was good as a calling card, but then you had to make a feature to really get your foot in the door. So I think that making short films is hugely important to building your skills as a director. And, and you can't, it's so difficult to get the financing to make a first feature. So I think shorts are absolutely the place to start and, to hone your craft. And I hope that, there's more and more platforms for seeing them. That's really exciting. And then they can, and then they're always useful in demonstrating that how to direct, so that when you're then trying to, pedal and get your first feature made, you have a proof of concept.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are tons of platforms that showcase and just specifically kind of we could access so many amazing short films from all around the world. So I was really curious to talk to you about that. And then another general question too. I mean, Olivia Newman is a storyteller. That's what you do essentially, whether directing, acting, writing. What excites you specifically about storytelling?
I think what stories allow us is an opportunity to reflect on the human condition, to understand ourselves and each other better. Sometimes, a movie can teach you something about yourself, or offer you a different perspective on the world, or a different perspective on another human being and the reasons why we, behave certain ways. And so for me, every story I tell, I hope that there's an opportunity to take something away from it for myself and for viewers.
Oh, absolutely. And before we wrap up quickly, I mean, when they get a chance to watch Where the Crawdads Sing, what do you hope the audience gets out of it, takeaway-wise specifically?
Well, I think Kaya as a character is enormously inspiring. She's somebody who, has so many odds stacked against her, and she, experiences traumas that I think, others can relate to. But she keeps pulling herself back up. She doesn't give up on herself. And she's a real example of persevering and not only surviving, but finding a way to really thrive and leave a mark.
Oh, absolutely. And, I'm sure today it's starting to hit you that it's coming out soon because you're talking to all these outlets, but has it started to hit you the last couple of months that like your film is going to be out this summer, like a little bit?
Well, on my way to work and on my way home, I pass billboards every day. And I would be lying if I said that I don't scream in my car every time I pass one. It's very exciting. It's my first film to open in theaters. And when I shot the movie, I really shot it with the intention of it being seen on a big screen. I think it's of the scope and it's of the sort of epic quality that it really deserves to be seen on the screen. And it's really, to experience it with other people is amazing. So I'm over the moon that it will be in theaters.
And congratulations. That's really, really amazing. And thank you so much for your time. Where the Crawdads Sing going to be in theaters July 15th. Olivia, great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.